Hi, I'm Den. Um, as of pretty much a year ago, I'm new to Warrior Cats, and I've read the first four arcs during this year because I'm a crazy person with insomnia and nothing else to do. Um, so I'm new to Warrior Cats. And the reason I'm new to Warrior Cats is because I'm Swedish, and Warrior Cats has only recently started getting released here in Swedish. So when I was a kid, I didn't even know Warrior Cats existed, which my kid self is very salty about because when I was a kid, I would have loved these books so much. So part of the reason I'm reading them, I guess, is to sate my inner child who feels very robbed. Um, so basically, for Art Fight last year, I wound up drawing some Warrior Cat OCs, and at this point, I was aware of Warriors. Has been my periphery because internet. So I figured, oh, why not? I'll give these books a whirl. So I did. Um, yep, I sure read the books. um, but anyway, so basically this means that I don't have any nostalgia goggles on for the series, and also I am a whole ass adult, so I'm not the target demographic. So with that in mind, I figured why not talk a little bit about my opinions because I have so many opinions. I am highly opinionated as a person. I am probably incredibly exhausting sometimes. Um, but maybe there are people who might like this perspective because I'm new to Warrior Cats, and I maybe that can help the discourse. I don't know. I don't even know what the Warriors discourse is. I just want to talk about these cats. So I'm gonna talk about these cats because I'm a crazy person with insomnia and I have nothing better to do. So we're gonna go in order. Yeehaw! Um, I'm not gonna go book by book because I don't remember what goes in which books. Also, spoilers, obviously. Also, I call the arcs seasons because I think that's way funnier. So, we'll do these in categories, sort of loosely. I have a bullet point list of everything I want to talk about, and we'll just see what happens. Okay, let's go. Season 1 The Prophecy Begins. First impressions. I like these books a lot. When I read the first book, my opinion for most of it was, oh, I see why people like this, but I'll probably not keep reading past this book. And then, psych, the stakes were super raised, and I had to find out what happened, so I kept reading. And that's the thing this arc has going for it more than any other of the ones, I think. At least the ones I've read so far. The rising tension and stakes with every book were believable and well handled overall, and it was really quite impressive how we went from Ravenpaw being rightly kind of twitchy around Tigerclaw to the fire and the dogs and Blue Star's deterioration and Tiger Clan. And it was just so much. There's so much. The poor cats. World building. Uh, the main thing that sort of stood out to me when I started reading was the world building, because I really liked the overall clan setup and the religion around StarClan. I particularly liked the 9 lives thing. It's such a clever inclusion of like this saying that we have, as human people. Really clever to take that and turn it into something canonical and fantastical. And it was all, very tangible but still grounded idea of leaders having 9 lives and taking on a new name to signify it. It felt inspired. I'm gonna say it. They did good on that. They did good. Um, I felt the same way around how prophecies were handled in this arc. Tangible, and like real, like we know that StarClan is real because of the 9 lives thing, but so the prophecies had weight, but they still felt grounded. Like the cat still had to work out what the prophecies meant, and the prophecies had like a very real presence throughout the book, but without getting in the way of the narrative overall. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed the cat terms for seasons and measurements and such. It was pretty cute little touch on the world building. Um, I enjoyed the naming scheme a lot of cats going from paws to whatever else works. Um, Although I will say that when Firepaw and Greypaw got the warrior names, I felt like Greystripe really got the short end of the stick. Because he was there. He was also doing protagonist stuff. You know, like, yes, Fireheart needs to have a protagonist name, but Greystripe, I feel like he deserved a little better than just straight up, you look like a Greystripe. I'm just saying. But, it's fine. Fireheart needs to be special. He's our protag. Um, Characters. In terms of characters, I found everyone likable and overall decently characterized. Like, none of them were super deep, but they were, like, consistent and likable. Except the ones that were supposed to be unlikable. Um, I really liked Fireheart's progression from learning the ropes into a competent warrior who, sort of struggles a little bit with his kitty pet origins, into a deputy, into acting leader, into actual leader. It was satisfying. I enjoyed his arc a lot, and I really liked how he grew throughout the books. I liked that Ravenpaw was established as nervous and twitchy off the bat, with the reason why being real later on, and him growing more at ease and confident as he got away from his abuser, and then sort of being able to give back, both in terms of fighting against his abuser later on, but also in being able to contribute in his own way on his own terms now. I liked Yellowfang going from gruff antagonist sort of thing to a gruff motherly figure. It was really sweet, it was satisfying. Loved her relationship with Cinderpelt in particular, and Cinderpelt's arc was one of my favorites. I really, really like Cinderpelt in this. From a bright-eyed, sort of eager apprentice to dealing with the loss and self-blame and helplessness and all of this grief, but then going into like this good self sort of actualized character, in that even if she hadn't wanted to be a medicine cat from the get-go, it's ultimately she did a really good job of it, and she seemed to really accept her place and embrace her new position and the ways that she could help her clan. Bluestar was another one of my favorite characters. She felt wise and fair and temperate, and like her leadership overall, I really respected her. Her mental irritation felt overall very well paced and tragic, and I was very upset by her change in personality. Not because it didn't feel earned by the story, because it absolutely did, but because I just remembered her alongside everyone else of the cats, I'm sure. I remembered her as such a good leader, and I felt so horrible for Fireheart having to shoulder both the deputyship and leadership, essentially. Like, that cat was overworked. He really needed someone else to not handle all of this stress himself. Oh my god. The villains were threatening and overall effective. Tiger Claw was nicely characterized as a good but intense warrior. And the question of whether he was truly a bad guy, I felt that was well handled overall, and it kept me invested as a reader. After he showed his true colors and he didn't go completely unhinged. Although skyclan was definitely some comic book villain levels of horrible. But I like that he didn't go totally like unhinged Joker sort of thing on everyone's asses. He felt cold and calculated and intelligent, so he really felt like a good foe and a very good villain overall for the entire arc. The main inconsistency for me was Sandstorm's very sudden infatuation with Fireheart. Like, they had nice chemistry once the romantic interest was established, but her having that interest was pretty out of the blue. And then Princess appearing, and then just disappearing pretty much. She was like, "Hi, I'm here. I have a cat." And then she just kind of disappeared from the narration. It felt kind of sloppy. But other than that, I found all background and secondary characters overall consistent, even if not like, again, they're not that deep, but I didn't find them lacking either. Story. I enjoyed the mounting tension with each book and the way the stakes kept getting higher and higher all the time. I felt so bad for every single cat, but it was very well paced. I really liked how every book somehow got worse than the last book, without it feeling contrived. like there was a good through line of dramatic tension, and the story built to a climax really, really well. I felt like there was a good mix of interpersonal drama and external drama too, like sort of contrasting finding a safe space for Ravenpaw to save him from Tigerclaw, and Greystripe and Fireheart's falling out, and Greystripe leaving ThunderClan, and Fireheart grappling with his roots. Like, these are interpersonal and internal dramas and story beats, and they were all very well balanced against like a difficult winter and the forest fire and the cats being killed by cars, these really external factors. I appreciated that most of the drama was interpersonal because like that's the way I jive. But again, it didn't feel contrived like Greyheart, Fireheart and Greystripe's falling out, for example. It built up nicely, and you could really understand why they had their falling out from both sides. So it didn't feel like it was just like put there just for the sake of drama. It felt really natural with the way the story was going. And then the external forces served to push the drama and story when the interpersonal drama needed more oomph or it was resolved for the moment. So I felt that was, overall well handled. The climax itself, I have mixed feelings about. Tigerclaw getting killed by Scourge was a good subversion to what we anticipated the ending to be, but it didn't feel earned. Like, the overall story had worked on classic tropes up until this point, with like Romeo and Juliet and the chosen one for Fireheart and all of that. But and like these tropes were played straight, like they hadn't been subverted or changed around that much, and that's fine because tropes are not bad. Tropes are good, actually, when they're used well, and I felt like the tropes were used well overall here, but that it did make Scourge and BloodClan feel sudden, and it didn't feel satisfying. Like, the build-up was towards Firestar's and Tigerstar's final showdown, and not getting that seemed more like it was done as a gotcha moment than like a thought-out conclusion. Like, in my opinion, BloodClan should have been foreshadowed a lot better than they were, and a lot sooner than they were. And because like we had Tigerclaw sneaking around and being sneaky, early on, well, somewhat early on, but it would have worked out better if Barley, for example, had dropped some lines about watching out for the rogues in town or stuff like that. But all that said, Firestar uniting the clans against BloodClan was a good hero moment, and it all ended on a high note with a true sense of win. So I didn't feel like robbed or cheated out of the ending that I thought I was gonna get exactly. Like, mixed feelings on the climax, but overall a good ending. A thing I really, really didn't like. In fact, this got on my nerves so badly. this writing decision they made, which is that they keep using mewed or meowed instead of said. Said is not a bad word. I'm not going to forget that the characters are cats, okay? I am very clear on the fact that they are cats. You don't have to have them mew things for me to remember that they are cats. I promise I am a more intelligent reader than this. Good God. Like, eventually I got used to it and I stopped reacting to it, but this is very, like, this was just such an amateurish and annoying thing, and I am going to bring this up every single time because they don't get any better about this. Said is not a bad word. Please, use said. Oh my god. Final thoughts on Season 1 of Warriors. You can tell that these books were thought out ahead of time, unlike basically every other arc following this one. So I liked how everything tied together overall. It was a satisfying arc for my character. I enjoyed his journey. I liked a lot about it, honestly. I totally understand why people got really hype about feral cat politics, because I sure felt myself being really hype about the feral cat politics. A good, strong introduction to the series. Shame, this is by far the best arc. I'm giving this an 8 on 10 stars. 8 out of 10 stars. Great, okay. I was gonna make like one big video, but I'm noticing that I have once again too many opinions to fit into all of this. Trust me, I will have more opinions later, but we're gonna do it in parts. So this has been a season 1 review by a person new to Warriors. Thank you.